That's really cool.
So, yeah, it's gonna make the space a lot better.
So where do you want us to start?
Talk to me about like when you guys bought this space.
Well, we just got this space in the beginning of June, so we haven't been there too long, but we've really gotten right down to work to really get things in motion. Isaac was the one that found this building, and he came and told me about it immediately because he knows my passion for really big recording spaces, and a lot of those studios are gone now. So we saw the potential together on this one.
Yeah. All right. Well, talk to me a little bit what you were saying before. How big it's going to be, and
we're roughly going to have about a
28 by 29. You know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 by 30 for the musicians to record and play.
800 to 900 foot tracking room.
You know, and
control room will be about 22 feet deep, 14 feet wide. It'll be nice and spacious.
10-foot ceiling in various places, and then it'll kind of be more like 8 to 10.
Okay, cool.
Then we'll be using a lot of our walls, acoustic walls. We're going to be building ourselves and using reclaimed materials like wood slats from pallets and things like that to make the surface uneven and work as diffusers. Also, the sound of wood is really porous, so it sounds really good. We've also been getting a lot of materials, buying secondhand, trying to get reclaimed materials, working with Habitat for Humanity, getting things from the Restore.
Yeah.
Just to really kind of keep the project, stay environmentally conscious, but also keep the overhead down so we can, our goal is to really make a state-of-the-art recording studio that's really within reach of any musician in Central New York, so we can really build a music scene and allow musicians to spend more time in the studio really crafting better recordings.
Yeah, and you said you wanted to keep the rates pretty low?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, our goal is to make this accessible. And on top of that, we want to treat this like a community resource, not just a for-profit venture. One of our long-term goals is to make sure that musicians are not always facing a financial obstacle when it comes to getting good records, because we feel like the better the records sound in this city, the better the music scene becomes. As I've said before, if we don't have product to show for our highfalutin talk, we're just a bunch of people that are talking, right? We got to have good sounding records for everyone if we want to build it, and we got to build everybody up. And, this space, you can just, run the wheels in the back of your head. One of the other things that I see in this room, when I see how big it is, it's like it's a classroom waiting to happen too. So it's one of our goals is to work with youth here in the city and create kind of a music education apprenticeship type program to learn school skills in audio. Right.
And to see where that leads,
Definitely some mentorship, some youth internships, trying to partner up with different agencies and make sure everybody knows about this resource, and also having like direct connection to families. I'd love to have parents and kids come in here and learn how to make music together,
So, it's kind of, we're creating a space that you couldn't have in your home, but also we want to teach people how to use the tools they have to work on some of their recordings at home too.
And we've got other people that are even interested in actually doing like traditional music instruction with instruments. We'd have pianos in here, we'd have drums, kids could actually learn some of the things they're not getting in the school setting anymore because of financial woes. We all know about that. So, if we're able to offer that, it's like something that's, we've built and done a lot of great things in this community, so why not do a give back, and make it happen for a lot of people who can't have access to those things. So, again, it's a process, but it's definitely a goal. I feel like once you set the goal, now you just have to meet it.
That's awesome.
What this space is all about.
Cool, yeah, and just to finish up, so you said like this whole back here is going to be the recording studio part?
Yes, this is going to be our big old school, it's not as big as Sound City, so big ups to David Grohl and his documentary, but this is a decent sized old school recording room. The floors are concrete, you have a real nice live sound to the room.
Floor and ceiling are parallel.
Yep, the room is very random as far as the layout. So there's a lot of little nooks and crannies, so literally just by putting people in different parts of the room, you can get different sounds. And this is the type of place where you'd see Motown artists and musicians and, those big gymnasium style recording spaces like Capitol where Frank Sinatra used to be at. Like, that's the inspiration in this room, is to really keep it, just to have that rich tone, in all things, and that accompanied with our techniques, our ears, our ear, our soul, our passion, I think is going to really transform the space into something special. And then the musicians will have nothing in their way to do what they got to do, man. they sound like stars in this room. I wish I had a studio like this when I was 18 to record it. This is like stuff you read about in the book. You're like, wow, look how big that room is, you know, and how high the ceilings are.
And so the control room is going to be over here?
Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about, if you look at this, you know, sometimes, you know, when you spend a lot of time here, we forget how big this room is. But we're talking about from here on back, maybe like that fire exit, we're going to have a, you know, a control room that'll be able to accommodate not just the engineers and their equipment, but also any guests or students or interns, people that want to actually, you know, learn. It won't be cramped, you know. Be a very nice, spacious control room for a studio of this size, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially with that long of a throw back, you know.
And this is the reclaimed wood you talked about.
I mean, some of this stuff, like we got this from a guy that invented these, who's actually a local to Syracuse. These things are 10 feet tall by 12 feet wide, and they're all on wheels.
In essence, what they'll become is movable walls.
Movable
What we
gobos.
call gobos.
Right.
They're pretty big for gobos, but we're really going to set that up to kind of be that way we can adjust the sound how we tailor it.
And what we've done is taken apart things like pallets, as well as any wood that was standing on the walls to reclaim that as well. But these pallets, you know, we've been getting them at the great price of just blood, sweat, and tears. We haven't really invested a ton of money into getting these. We just made the effort to go track them down and get them, and then we just take, like, you know, different tools and disassemble them. And you know, I mean, this is, you know, you have this great wood right here. This is real wood, you know, and it's just laying around, and you know, nature makes it and man forgets it, unfortunately. So we're trying to make sure that we don't waste, you know. The less waste to be generated, the better for all people, right? So, you know, and just sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. You know, a guy might go on Craigslist and say, you know, I'm getting rid of the wood in my barn. It's been there for a while, and it's cut from a tree and all this other stuff, and I only want this much money. We drive out there and we get it. And that just, you know, the studio is definitely labor of love, man. Like, every time I go home sore and filthy, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this again tomorrow. I wake up and I walk back in this room, and I'm just like, you know what? I see them playing music right now in here. You know, and that's what keeps me going. That and my family, you know, and just my connection to this whole situation. Like, every time I walk in here, I don't see just the potential. I see the outcome.
When are you guys planning on having it finished?
Hopefully
August.
August, September.
Yeah. Come hell or high water, we're gonna have this place open and
We're
rocking.
gonna try to get some things started here and maybe set up a temporary control room in the front as we're building out offices and different rental spaces in the front, and then building the control room so we can kind of maybe start doing some projects while we're in the process of finishing other areas.